We've had an amazing evening so far, and just a phenomenal set of conversations and awardees for the evening. So I'm so honored to be here and to continue the conversation with an amazing group of women that you will soon find out how just phenomenal and amazing and impactful they all are in their
Yep, got
own
it.
particular ways. So I'm actually going to allow them to introduce themselves. They're going to give you their elevator pitch of what makes them great, what's been impactful in their life, and or the organizations that they work for. So in the order of Kristen, Pingling, Dominique, and Kira, ladies, please introduce yourselves to this amazing audience that has the opportunity to hear from you today.
Well, I guess I get to go first. Usually with the last name of Wyrick, I'm usually last. So it's kind of exciting to go first. So I'm Kristen Wyrick. I am the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer and Vice President of Global Talent Acquisition at Alcon. I have spent the past couple decades in the space of talent, growing, developing, acquiring talent, as well as making sure that the companies that I work for have an environment that is inclusive and drives diversity, making sure that we are driving innovation through diversity, making sure that we're gaining the best and maximizing the potential of every one of the associates in our company. So Alcon, if you're not familiar with Alcon, if you wear eyeglasses or contacts, we focus on vision care. So we are a STEM company. We create the surgical devices that do LASIK surgery as well as help people with cataracts. As I said, we also do contact lenses and all sorts of eye drops. So, very much focused in the area of STEM. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be joining you all today. Amazing panelists, as well as the folks that I've heard speak today, the awardees, all amazing as well. And I'm honored to be part of the panel.
All right, wonderful. All right, I'll introduce myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Pauline Chen. I am so thrilled to be here with you today. I am a senior manager and a vice president for Capital Group companies. Their IT departments, my teams, and I support and build applications for our marketing sales organization. Um, if you don't know about Capital Group, we provide portfolio management to help millions of families to reach their financial goals. So when they plan for the retirement, sending their children to college, and the life goals they have, and we contribute into their life journeys through helping them grow their wealth. If you play Minecraft or any of the Roadblocks games. We are the people behind those games and the applications. The people on my teams, we do programming, we do analysis, and we create those programs for people to use. I grew up as a computer programmer, and today I lead 100 plus people creating those programs to support my company in helping people achieve their financial dreams. Capital Group is a great supporter for project scientists. My passion is helping women and especially introducing young girls into STEM field. So really excited to be talking to you today.
That's great. So, hi everyone. My name is Dominique. I couldn't think of a better way to spend my Friday evening. Let me just start by sharing that. I'm from South Africa, actually, originally. I'm talking to you today from Belgium. And between those two countries, I've been in Portugal, I've lived in Italy, France, and I'm probably forgetting one, which is Ireland, of course. I started my STEM career as a mechanical engineer, actually. So that's what I studied. That's my background. And after doing a lot of traveling and trying to figure out what I really wanted to do, I landed in train technologies, not going to explain what the company is about because the user just explained that much better than me. And I spent many years as a product manager. So what that means is I got to work with engineers and operators and people from all over the world to actually design and commercialize new heating and cooling products. And I got to do this in a way that was much more sustainable. Today, I'm part of the innovation team at Train Technology. So it's a completely new and very, very exciting challenge for me as well. And one of the big projects that we're working on with all of our almost 40,000 employees is on ideas for how we can reduce food waste and food loss in the world. So I'm really excited to meet the rest of the panel and have a great discussion with you, Erica.
All right. Hey, everyone. So great to meet all of you here on the panel and to be talking to all of you on the call. I'm Kira. I'm coming to you from Seattle, Washington. I'm a technical program manager at Amazon Web Services. I actually started my career at Amazon at AWS as a solutions architect first, where I was designing and building cloud solutions for customers. Cloud is a really new area of technology that's impacting industries all over the world. It makes it a really exciting and fast-paced area to work in for tech. I've always been really interested in the intersection of education and technology, particularly STEM education and helping enable people in computer science fields. So most recently, I'm working on a cloud education platform for young learners. So basically, it's my job to figure out how to turn intimidating technical concepts into relatable, fun experiences for students. It's actually been a passion project of mine for a while, so it's very exciting to be building that out at AWS. I actually got to spend some time with project scientists during September for a couple of their sessions, so it's been really fun to work with the program and excited to be here today.
One of the things I love that Gitanjali was change is, she wouldn't know it, but she was, that ties to one of my favorite quotes. I'm no longer accepting the things I can change. I'm changed that I cannot accept. So this is about change and how we create change and how we invoke change. And so I want to go back to questions that Debbie actually asked her and ask the four of you. And so just remember a couple of minutes because we have so many great questions to get to. So definitely want to, I hate that we have the fast path, but I want everybody to have an opportunity to share and people get exposed to who you are. So the question was around curiosity, right? And how did you first discover curiosity when you were younger? And then how did you develop that? And how did that continue to evolve as you became the STEMinist you are today? So we're going to go in reverse order this time. So Kara, if you don't mind going first, and we'll go in literally the reverse order from which.
Sure. Perfect. Great question. My first sort of spark in technology, I remember building my first app in probably sixth or seventh grade, something really simple using a click and drag type application. And I built some silly kind of game. And that was my first aha moment for, whoa, I can, turn these creative ideas that are in my head into something real with technology. And so that really was the kind of spark that got me going through technology. And I try to come back to that moment whenever I see something, interesting, something new in tech, and try to dive deep into it and understand what's going on and what's happening. I try to return to that aha moment whenever I can.
Oh, that's great. I can't think of a very specific moment like that. I just remember that as a child, I was super shy and super quiet and used to sit in a corner and just observe. So I think that's a little bit where my curiosity comes from. It started with just observing people and adults, trying to understand why they do the things that they do. And then eventually it just progressed to just trying to understand the things around me. Even my cartoons in the morning, I was like, how do they do that, right? How do they get the pictures to move? So I'm fascinated about everything. And then I think it was in high school. I remember sitting in my physics class and just like walking out, being like, oh, so that's why airplanes fly. So I just love this ability to like understand how things work around me. And it still happens today, not only around technology, but around just cultures and history. Why are we the way we are, right? Why are the French so different from the Italians? I love that. And I just think our ability to keep asking questions and be curious around the world around us is really important.
And for me, my Probably a big moment I always remember was right around when I was 10 years old. At the time, my family has my favorite clock. It's not the digital clock you see today. It's a real clock. It's a clock that has all the parts and it moves. And I was fascinated by the clock. And finally, one day I couldn't resist, and I opened the bag and took out all the components, and then I tried to put it back and couldn't. And my parents both taught physics in college at my hometown. By the time my dad came home, I was so scared and I thought he would be so mad at me. But he was very, very encouraging and helped me. We spent hours and trying to put it together. We couldn't. And my family didn't have a lot of money, so that clock was actually a great asset for us, but he never once scolded me or blamed me for it. That was probably the first seed that planted in me in problem solving, and that really grew into seeing the problems in every situation, trying to use technology to solve that, and it carried into my world today. I always felt as an individual, as a child, we have that born, the curiosity born with us. And it's up to us how to take care of that curiosity and take it with us and finding what we're interested and what problems to solve.
Yeah, and Pingling, I guarantee I would never have even attempted to take that clock apart because I guarantee I would not have been able to put it back together. But I also would credit my mom for creating that sense of curiosity. She's 80 now, but she was a mathematician and an engineer. And she always encouraged both my sister and I not to ask why, but to ask why not. And so she just opened the world. And even though I did not pursue a career in STEM, I'm absolutely passionate that every girl and young woman should be able to pursue what excites them most. And so, with that, I think that pretty much says it all in terms of why I'm very supportive of everything that we're doing around Project Scientist.
Well, Kristen, in that vein, right, your life's work and focus has been really about talent acquisition and cultivation. If anybody goes and looks at your LinkedIn profile, they'll see that that has literally been your entire trajectory and the lineage of your career through multiple organizations, right? So what would you say are what is it that organizations are doing, or even what should they do to create greater equity and greater diversity in their talent pools?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's one that a lot of organizations struggle with, especially in the past. I would say couple of years. There's definitely been a larger appetite than what I've ever seen previously in my decades of doing this work. But I think it first has to start with creating the environment where diversity can thrive. You have to have an organization that is inclusive, that welcomes diverse perspectives, that welcomes diverse employees and
Welcome to the
associates, and recognizes the value that they bring to the table and the contribution that they can make to the organization. I think the next one I would focus on is building pipelines of diverse talent. So, Project Scientist is a great example of introducing young women to the STEM sciences, but we have to make sure we're reaching down as corporations and building not only the interest to pursue STEM, but also creating those pipelines so that when those talents start getting into the workforce, they're thinking of your company. They're thinking of your company as a place that they can thrive, grow, and contribute. And then once they're in your company, you have to make sure that you're growing and developing those talents, and having a deep focus on diversity, recognizing that there are some inherent there's some inherent unfairness that's happened over the past few decades, and that we need to double down in certain areas to equal things out and create a fair and equitable environment where literally everyone can succeed.
Thank you, Kristen. Dominique, I'm going to segue to you, right? Because when we talk about diversity, when we talk about varying experiences, and like you shared in your intro, right, all the international footprints that you've had in your career pathway and journey, and there's these amazing bodies of work coming out of like Australia and out of Europe in terms of equally being focused on creating greater equity in STEM for women. So, if you don't mind, can you share and reflect on some of your international experiences and what do things look like in other parts of the world? What advancements have you seen? And just again, just tell us, what has your specific experience been like?
Right. I love that question. Challenge, keep it short. So I still remember the first day, my first day of mechanical engineering, right? And I walked into the classroom. It was a cohort of 200 students. And I remember walking in, going to the front and sitting down because I'm that nerd, and then looking back and counting the number of girls that I could see in the audience. We were 5 out of 200. And 2 of them gave up after the first semester. So anyway, you're talking about a ratio of 3%. Now, when I got the opportunity to join this panel, I decided to contact the university again and ask them, what does it look like now? And we've gone from 3% to 20% in mechanical engineering, which is like the most male dominated domain. So I was a little bit uh, torn with myself because I was like, wow, 3% to 20%, that's huge, that's great. But I was like, but that's still 20% out of 100%, right? So we still have a little bit to go. I think the great thing is, and what I've seen in universities across all of Europe, is that finally people are talking about it. So it's not just companies and organizations like Kirsten was doing it. I had never ever seen my university talk about this as a problem, as a gap, and actually make the commitment to do something about it, right? So I'm happy it took them 10 years, but it's happening, and I think that's very encouraging. Now, flip side, there's also a lot of differences once you get employed and start a real career in STEM. I had very different experiences across Europe. So I decided to look at the stats because I'm a number geek. And I read on the European Union website that in STEM, so both engineering, science, and mathematics, 41% of people who are employed are women. 41 out of 100. That's pretty impressive, right? So I was like, wow, this is a reason to feel good. But this isn't really reflective of how I felt, right? Because I mean, when I started working in Italy, for example, and even a little bit in France, I remember walking into the factory and people looking at me skeptically, like, what, is she working here? Like, really? Like, which department? Our department? Engineering? Really? And this, I had a very different experience in Ireland, right, where I kind of walked in and I saw more girls, more women in the R&D department, in the manufacturing department, and I felt more comfortable. So it's really, really different. To answer your question, Erica, between the South and the North, and this goes back to my initial of I need to dig into why, right? And there's historical and cultural reasons for what that is. So some countries might have a little bit more to do, but I keep going back to the point of organizations are talking about it and doing something about it. So I think it's a great time to be a STEMinist and a great time to be a girl considering a career in STEM because universities are paying attention and using the right tools to, try to attract you. But companies are also trying to create a more comfortable environment for when you actually join. So I'm going to end there with a positive note.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Dominic. And it's okay to be a number geek. I'm right there with you. I'm an industrial engineer and we like numbers and statistics all day long. So I get it. I'm right there with you. But Kira, I want to switch to you, right? Because particularly since Dominic introduced the conversation from a collegiate perspective, and so I want to um, pull it down even further, right, into kind of the K through 12 space or young learners. You already referenced, right, your commitment and the work that you're doing in cloud education. So if you could share, right, why is this work so important to you? And what do you believe this knowledge, again, for young learners, what do you believe it will enable? And specifically, how engaged are young girls in this effort that you're leading?
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. So, I work on a team that's working to democratize cloud technology learning for young builders, essentially. This is so important to me because I know when I was looking at technical careers, I was equal parts excited about trying to make the world a better place, but I was also very intimidated. It felt very other, very abstract. I didn't see a way in which me, struggling to understand anything about the new fields could really have an impact. But the reality that I've now learned is that technology, particularly cloud technology, is growing at such a rapid pace that it's impacting the whole world and every industry. And as an individual, you can really build technology to make a positive impact on so many things. Like climate change studies, cancer research, social good. You can analyze sports players statistics, you can help historians, you can do movie animations. There's really no limit to what you can create. And the fact that cloud in particular is expanding at such a rapid pace means there are so many jobs in these fields, from data science to solutions architecture to cybersecurity. But the thing is that of course, if we don't have diverse opinions contributing to all of these areas of technology, the products that we create and the impact that we have is going to be biased. So it's really critical that we help all young people, but particularly young girls, get that aha moment about technology and really contextualize the impact that they can truly have on the world. And so we have to normalize these opportunities, and we start to do that through hands-on building, through mentoring, some of the things that you've heard the other speakers talk about today too, through showing career pathways that are actually really available to all students, but again, particularly to young women, to help to expose them to those opportunities. And I feel that my mission is really to help as many people as possible, but particularly young women, feel empowered in their ability to create with technology.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And support, right? So this is a great segue, Pingling, to what I would love to ask you about because, there's a recognition, right? We have a pipeline but there are these chasms that exist in the pipeline, and they're very notable in terms of those time frames of when they happen. Middle school for one, transitioning into high school as another. Um, Making decision points to opt in or opt out of STEM pathways when transitioning from high school into higher ed opportunities, and even from the professional sense. Those first 1 to 8 years for women in STEM careers are critical in determining their forward trajectory after that, right? So, from the standpoint of support and perhaps addressing some of these chasms, what do you believe, Pinling, are some of the best ways to support women who work in technology fields, and particularly all again young women and girls who want to get into STEM? What are some of the best ways to support that?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. And I can resonate to what Dominic mentioned earlier. I went to a college and did electronic engineering. That's my major. And very few women. And even today, my company, Capital Group, is huge in promoting DE&I, bring women into the STEM workforce. There are still very few women in the industry. Often I find myself in the meetings where I'm the only female. Sometimes it's a daily occurrence. I see a couple of them heads nodding, and my male colleagues are all wonderful, but I really want to see more women uh, at the seat of the table. And the one thing that I have been doing, I'm very passionate about, is I truly believe women need to come together. We need to come together to create a community, to know we're not alone. And as the minority in STEM, in the technology industries, we can support each other and enable each other. Often we feel the challenges or the problems we're facing are very individual, but they are not. And I've spent a couple of years volunteering for Women in Technology International, bring women together to talk about those issues and the challenges and helping each other problem solving. And we learn from each other. I'm doing that at work right now to create IT or Women Connect, creating those forums. I think it works the same for young women and girls. I'm so proud of you. This is a community. We're coming together, we're sharing our experience with you. You know, whatever STEM field you're interested, you are encouraged and you are empowered. So I would just encourage you, no matter what you're interested, find a friend, be that a science fair or trying a math club, trying something that may not be the first thing you're thinking about. Give it a try. Find a friend, ask people and who might be like-minded. You'll be surprised how much energy, how much encouragement you're gonna get to propel you forward.
So we only have a few moments left. I mean, our time is fleeting, and I feel like we just started the conversation. And so I want to transition to a few questions that actually came from uh, participants in Project Scientist after school program. And so the first question, so and Pingling, you actually set the stage for this particular question with those words of encouragement and the affirmations that you gave, right? Telling them that they were empowered. So let's stay with that, but it actually relates to one of the questions that came in. Um, what would you have to, and anybody can answer these questions. So just remember, we're kind of going to do popcorn a little bit. And if you want to answer, great. And if you want to wait to the next question, that's okay too. Um, but what would you have told your younger self? Or what do you wish a mentor or someone like, um, as you're sitting here and having this conversation and we're actually empowering each other through this conversation, what do you wish somebody would have told you? What do you wish you would have told your younger self as you've gone through your particular individual journeys and your trajectories in life? Again, anybody can answer this particular question.
I'm going to jump in on this one because I feel really yeah, passionate about my answer. And it is about it's okay to be exactly who you are. I think I spent a lot of time earlier on when I was a young girl, as well as when I was early in my career, trying to fit into somebody else's box. And you being you is your special secret sauce. It is what differentiates you, and it is what will propel you to your maximum potential. So get comfortable being who you are, and love yourself with it.
I'm
So
going to
for
jump
me,
on that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Feng Li.
okay, thank you. So for me, what I would tell my younger self and what I would tell all of you is start from yes. Don't let the little voice in your mind talk you out from trying something different or new, especially when it comes to STEM and the technology. That's called the self-limiting thoughts. So be very careful about those when you start thinking, wow, I shouldn't be doing that, I shouldn't be doing this. Start from yes, you'll be amazed.
I'm going to take a completely different route because if I was younger, if I could talk to my younger self, I would say, don't freak out. So, my biggest fear starting my career was I don't know how this is going to end. Am I going to be a rocket scientist? When I started mechanical engineering and I talked to my colleagues, they were all into cars. I hate cars. Like it's the one thing I really don't want to know about. So I was really freaking out. Like just don't freak out, right? Just always be open, learn because opportunities are going to come and connections are going to happen that you would never have imagined. So a little bit what Pengling was saying, right? Have that yes attitude. Just kind of try it, right? What's the worst that can happen? And don't freak out.
So, and those are great words of wisdom, right? And so I want to take that thread and transition us to this question here, because saying listening to the no and freaking out, right? What they can really present also are roadblocks to your success. So, what important tactic have you used to overcome roadblocks or those self-defeating type, you know, conversations in our heads that possibly may pop up from time to time? What type of tactics have you used to overcome those roadblocks or even roadblocks that others have put in your way? I'm going to give you my own example. I mentioned being an industrial engineer, and I had a circuits class, and I had a professor who told me that Black women had no business in engineering. That was a very harsh and direct statement, and it could have been a roadblock, right? But it took self-esteem and a recognition of knowing my self-worth to say, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable, that's not okay. And one of the greatest opportunities in life was to get my degree and have him watch me obtain my degree. But for you, right? What tactics do you use to overcome roadblocks?
Yeah, I'll chime in on this one if that's cool. I'll give two quick ones. So, on the sort of positive mindset thread and keeping that self esteem high, I've definitely had moments, a lot of moments where I've doubted myself and thought, poof, I do not belong to be here. What am I doing here? And I try to come back to really tactically, this might sound cheesy, but positive affirmations. And I'll even journal them sometimes. Things like, I am capable, I am worthy, I belong to be here, I can do this, right? And when you change that inner dialogue to something positive rather than, oh, I suck at this or I can't do this, it really has an impact on your ability to actually to move forward. And the other tidbit I would say as far as helping build your self-esteem would be, start to build things. Start to when you see a problem and you're not sure how to solve it, Google it. See what tutorials you can follow. Seeing something for yourself, there's really no substitute for hands-on experience and getting that visualization for yourself. So challenge yourself to dive in when you can, and that can really help you build up your confidence too.
I would offer one that I spend a long time to really learn and get better at when I run into roadblocks, which is asking for help. Sometimes it's very hard for us, for women, to ask for help because we want to do so much. And I learned it's okay to ask for help and finding people, no matter who that person is, and the people are really generally want to help you. And in the end, as you go through that process and solving whatever that problem, removing the roadblocks, you're going to learn and build more confidence from it. So don't be afraid to ask for help. It makes you stronger and not weaker.
And I'm going to add one more to that, and that's tenacity. I have a saying. My team knows it. It's over, under, around, or through. And we're going to fail multiple times before we succeed. And every single time we fail, we learn, and that's what propels us forward.
And I'm going to say, don't freak out. A little bit to what Kira was saying. Sometimes you should take a step back. If something looks too complicated, talk to people about it, right? Go for a run, do something that you love, right? Just don't freak out. I think that's my core message for today.
I love it. I think in IT, the one thing we say is fail fast. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. You learn so much from that. So be comfortable, be okay to make mistakes.
So we're going to positive note, your parting words, 30 seconds. What's the one thing that you've done that you're so energized about and you're so proud of in terms of enabling, supporting, uplifting, and or empowering other women in STEM, other young girls and women in STEM?
I could talk about like my career and my CV, but as you said that, the first thing that came to my mind was in Portugal. A couple of years ago, I was literally walking down the street and someone came up to me who I thought I had never seen in my life and said, Dominique, thank you for a presentation you did at school ABC. I actually looked into mechanical engineering and I chose to go there. I still have no idea who this person is, but I kind of kept it. Oh, that's really nice. That's cool. And we talked about it. But the fact that just by talking about it, I was able to influence one person to kind of make that decision. I'm like, yeah, that's going with me to the grave as my proudest moment.
I'll say that I come from a female dominated family. I have two sisters, I have daughter, I have nieces. I feel very strong that we pass on our learning and our experience to younger women, to girls. I'm energized every time when I come to a panel discussion or any kind of a volunteering event. I feel with anything that we can do to share, to talk about, to educate, we're building that fabric for young girls little by little. So I'm just so proud of you to be here today. You're doing great things.
I would go with mentoring and being mentored and being a mentor for others has been one of the most rewarding experiences. I find it so energizing to talk to younger women and to talk to people who are my mentors. So my note to anyone who's out there thinking about, what's next, what can I do to make some of these connections, join a mentoring program, either as the mentor or the mentee. You're really never too young to start mentoring other people and having those conversations, and you might be surprised to find how much you learn about yourself in the process.
Yeah, and I'll kind of take a little bit of what everyone has already said. I think the what I'm most proud of is perhaps the work I do around diversity and inclusion, and making sure that I'm creating an environment where people can thrive, people that have been underserved before, or maybe haven't had the same opportunities as others, and creating that space and that place that is safe, where people can grow in it and really achieve their dreams. And every person that I can impact and create the environment that allows them to achieve their dreams literally just fulfills me.
And I will close by saying I feel very blessed to have had so many opportunities through my career pathway and being a change agent in so many different places. But today, the proud moment has been being in this conversation with the four of you. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your expertise. And thank you for your commitment and your engagement in this space. Truly honor you and appreciate you for all that you continue to do.